Welcome back to Copper Star Precision, the channel dedicated to getting you more points at your competitive shooting matches. And speaking of matches, we're at the big one.
Yep, 2022 F-Class Nationals.
F-Class Nationals. Now, I know nothing about scoring points, so I have F-Class John here, because I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to F-Open or FTR.
Yeah.
For the viewers at home who aren't familiar with you, you run a YouTube channel, F-Class John.
Yep.
You're dedicated to the sport of F-Class.
Yeah.
Can you give us a quick rundown of what F-Class is?
Yeah, so F-Class is a prone shot competition. It's divided into two things. You've got FTR, which is going to be basically a bipod mounted gun, and then you've got F-Open, which is going to be off anything. It could be bipod, nobody does, but technically any kind of front rest. There's a few limitations. Both classes have weight limitations. FTR is going to be 223 and 308 only. And then open is any caliber under, I can't remember, but I want to say it's like 34 caliber, something like that. And, we basically shoot in a couple different ways. So there's mid-range, which is going to be like 500 and 600 yards. There's also some 300-yard matches. And then 800, 900, and 1,000 is all considered long range. So
here I'm with you at the long range program.
Yeah.
So it's going to be 1,000 yards.
1,000 yards only this time, yeah.
And what size targets are we talking about?
So our 10 ring is going to be 10 inches. X ring is going to be 5 inches. Yeah. So and the target faces, the boards themselves are about 6 feet square.
So 6 feet square at 1,000 yards, you can probably barely make out the numbers way out in the distance. I don't know if you can, but we've got the wind flags up and it's a long way away. So 10-inch target, one MOA for a 10 ring at 1,000 yards.
Exactly. Exactly.
X ring is going to be half MOA.
Half MOA, yeah. So 5 inches.
What kind of accuracy are you looking at of your rifles to be competitive in this sport?
To be competitive, you've got to bring a gun that can at least hold the X ring vertical. So about half a minute. You hear a lot of guys say quarter minute this, quarter minute that, and that's ideal. But reality is that when you get to a match in a different place, in a different location, if you can bring a half-minute gun, you can be extremely competitive. Yeah. How
much is the gun, the rifle, the components, the reloading process, and how much is the wind? The wind is whipping out pretty bad out there. If you had to put a weight on it, 50-50, 70-30?
Well, here's what I'll tell you. Being able to read the wind doesn't mean anything if your bullets don't go where you want them to. I've had matches, where I've brought 1-minute guns, meaning it's shooting a 10 ring or bigger vertical, maybe a little outside 1 minute. And I mean, literally lost maybe 30, 40 points on a 3-day match and only had, because I usually try to plot them out. And I literally at a Southwest Nationals 2 or 3 years ago, I had maybe 4 bad wind calls, but I lost almost 30 points, 30 something, I can't remember what it was, but 30, close to 40 points, just because my verticals were just, up and down, up and down, up and down. You'll see other people where they're just lacing them right in there within the X ring, maybe little high 10s, low 10s, things like that. But if you can't hold a water line, your wind calls don't mean anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we met at Southwest Nationals, which is earlier this year.
Yeah.
And you took 4th place in that, I believe.
Yeah.
And what were you shooting then? And you kind of changed things up since then. So.
I have. Yeah, so F-Class, or Southwest Nationals, I shot just a straight 284 Winchester. It's something that I'm very comfortable with. I had played with some other cartridges and then vowed to go back to 284 and never leave it again. And then in June, someone convinced me to try one more thing in a Magnum cartridge. And I did, and I've had really good luck. I've had really good luck at some local, state, and regional matches, not winning, but placing, really well. I did win one match, placed third at another regional, and really got some confidence with that cartridge to where it could potentially replace my 284 on a permanent basis, and it's ultimately what I brought here.
Would you call it sort of a wildcat load? You're calling it the 7 Win Thumper, I believe?
Yeah, 7 Win Thumper. So it's a modified 6.5, they kind of call it like a 6.5 PRC / 7 mil because it's a 6.5 PRC cartridge necked up to 7 mil.
Okay.
Yeah. Mine's got some tweaks. There's a gentleman I've worked with who's been incredibly gracious. He's, basically a NASA engineer and has done some, dynamic testing and, different things and has suggested tweaks and this and that. And he's just been so generous with his time. And his name's Damon and just a great guy and really been patient with me doing testing. And he appreciates, my side of it because I've got the components and the time and the resources to go do the testing, and he doesn't necessarily have that. So it's been a really good kind of symbiotic relationship. Yeah.
So were you looking for an edge? Were you looking to try something different?
I was looking for a couple things. obviously everybody's looking for an edge, right? And that's what pushed me to a Magnum 2 years ago. And I had disastrous results at this exact match right here 2 years ago. I mean, just completely destroyed myself because I just couldn't get the cartridge to shoot. And in all fairness, I came to the match with 2 guns in that cartridge that just couldn't shoot to begin with. So, it was like I was expecting miracles. And that's when I backed with 284.
Are you trying to buck the wind? Are you trying to get different velocities?
I have to say, I'm looking for consistency. Like, I can deal with the wind, right? Because, I mean, you can win this match with the 284. So getting a little extra velocity, does it help? Absolutely. But without added consistency, no. I would say that, brass life, brass consistency, 284 is a weird design in some ways as a cartridge. You tend to get shorter brass life out of it. Most guys who shoot competition will get maybe 6 to 8 firings out of a piece of 284 brass. Even really great Lapua brass, you're going to get maybe 6 to 8 firings before you really say, look, this isn't competition ready. Truth be told, I shot most of the mid-range match this here, where I think I placed 6th. Almost 2 of the 3 days I was shooting brass that had been fired 11 times. So the difference in the consistency of how that Magnum PRC brass holds up, reload after reload, compared to what the 284 does, that's another edge that I'm looking for, right? And cost savings. Like, I don't have disposable funds, so
right.
If I can get brass to go twice as long, that's half the brass I'm buying,
yep.
Right? So, and the fact that Lapua makes a brass that works in my cartridge was critical. I wasn't going to switch because he kind of has a couple different cartridges he has developed, this gentleman I've worked with, and some of them are based on some other brands of brass. And I honestly told him if I can't shoot Lapua, I'm not going to shoot it. So we worked on it on the 6.5 PRC.
We were over at the Burger Vitivori Lapua booth yesterday, and they
Lapua?
said it's supposed to be Lapua.
Lapua, yeah, I know. I always say it wrong.
I'm just giving you a hard time. So has the rifle met your expectations?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been really, really happy with it. I honestly, I came here expecting a meltdown. I know that's how you shouldn't come into a match. I felt confident in the gun, but I just have had, bad results in the past when it came to, changing cartridges. And so, mid-range gave me a ton of confidence. It shot just stupid flat, really great. I think I lost maybe 1 vertical shot all mid-range, just made some bad wind calls. Long range, I did really great first day. Did great 2 of the 3 relays yesterday. Fell apart on the 3rd relay, but again, I had some corner 9s that, maybe were a little bit of adjusted vertical because of the wind condition, but I think I stayed pretty much within the 10x ring, which kind of, when you're getting those range verticals, if you have a half-minute gun, it usually stays within the 10 ring. So I felt really good about that. I just, made a lot of bad wind calls at the end of the yesterday.
Yeah, I think I was there yesterday, and there seemed to be a good time to shoot and a not so good time to shoot, and you just were in that second window, and it was switching on you, angle shifts. It was rough.
If I had a crystal ball,
that's the thing.
I'd be magic at this. It's sometimes it's experience. There's a lot of guys that I'll be fair, are much better wind callers than I am. They have more experience when it comes to wind calling. They know their experience level and where they're comfortable buying in and stopping and buying back in, and I have my places where I'm comfortable, and there's probably fewer of those. So when I pick my battles, I'm a little more committed than the average person, and it's something I'm working on, and it's I won't call it a defect, but it's a place where I need to work that I firmly recognize. So I picked a horrible time to buy in on that relay, and I was sort of pot committed at a point, and probably should have stopped, even though I would have dropped some points buying back in. It might have saved me a point or 2, and it was probably the smart thing to do. And unfortunately, I just made some bad decisions and let emotion get a hold of me a little bit, and lost shots I shouldn't have. So it happens.
It's part of the sport.
Part of the sport.
Earlier relay that day that I filmed. By the way, on his channel, you'll see all these videos coming up. I still have to get them the footage.
Yeah.
It takes a little while to edit.
We do have first day up, though.
We do have first day up.
Yeah, first day up was great.
First match 4, so the first match of day 2,
yeah,
you decided to switch rifles mid-match because you thought something was wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to spoil it. You have to go watch the video to find out what happened. But a great recovery from that one.
Yeah, so I will say that's something that you have to be good at. I think that goes for any discipline, right? I'm just getting into NRL22, you shoot PRS. I think keeping presence of mind when something goes wrong is probably the hardest thing for new shooters to learn. We have a ton of time. We get 30 minutes to shoot a relay here.
For 20 rounds.
For 20 rounds, yeah. And, sometimes that's unlimited sighters, sometimes that's 2 sighters. But the fact that we have so much time, really if you just kind of say, okay, like there's nothing saying you got, you're 5 minutes in, you're not burning a ton of time. So if you want to do that, I literally ran, across the parking lot. I didn't run. I walked across the parking lot because I knew I had the time. I wasn't going to completely get myself out of shape. Grabbed my other rifle. I came back and, come on over. You can watch the fun that happens.
So besides this match,
Yep.
prior matches,
Yep.
you have the new rifle, new caliber, or new cartridge set up. What are your long-term goals? What does F-Class John set for himself as a goal? Is it a big match win? Is it get onto a team? Is it, Worlds are coming up.
I'm definitely, so Worlds is set. Worlds was set 3 years ago,
Right.
the U.S. team. I do plan on doing the tryouts next year. So this time next year, what they do is the Monday after the match, they have team tryouts, and there's a whole process. There's different kinds of shooting that they do. They have coached shooting. They have individual shooting, stuff like that. So it's stressful, and I haven't done it before, but I do plan on doing that. Honestly, like, I think everybody wants to win a match. I don't know. I fight a lot of demons, but I think I think a lot of times I don't feel like I deserve to win a match. So I think winning a match and feeling really good about how I won it, maybe I make really good win calls, bring a great gun, I think when everything combines for me, like Southwest was a really good turning point for me, right? Like I didn't win it, but fourth place is phenomenal. Like I was ecstatic, right?
And you're shooting against the best shooters
God,
probably in the world. And I've
just,
heard people say that Southwest Nationals is actually a bigger challenge than F-Class Nationals.
I do think it is, honestly. I can't tell you why, because this is devoted to F-Class people, but there is something about, it could be the time of year here. That's pretty cool. There is something about the time of year here. There is, I think people really put it on their calendar. There's people who will probably skip nationals occasionally. The people who shoot Southwest always shoot Southwest. So it's just, it's a pretty special match, but doing well there kind of gave me a lot of confidence. And I've kind of lost a little bit of that confidence at times this year, but I've also picked up different kinds of confidence. So it's just been a really big learning year for me and a confidence building year. And I think it's hard because like people watch channels, right? They watch you, they watch me, and I think it's easy for people to expect perfection, right? They don't get to see, like, I appreciate that I'm a rank, like, I'm ranked something like 13th or 15th in the country right now for F-Class, but that doesn't mean anything, because there's shooters who are way better than me at calling wind that, or shooting that are below me. So like being ranked really doesn't mean anything. Just to be in the company of the top 50 or 60 guys out here really helps you learn a lot and really puts you in a different place. So yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird thing sometimes.
So just continue to improve and.
Yeah, I mean, of course I want to win some matches.
Of course, yeah. But just that slow incremental improvement, because I mean, this is when you're dealing with this level of accuracy, even just a little bit more accuracy takes leaps and bounds of mental effort, of practice, of everything, We'll leave that in we'll leave that.
Congratulations, you're on film.
For the bloopers.
But I think what I was going to say is I think that people, when they see somebody making a channel, they expect perfection, and I think that's really hard for me, because I think I put a lot of that pressure on myself already, and then you have some added stuff, like there's competitors who kind of cheer you on, and there's people who think it's goofy that you have a channel, and you see all different aspects of what having a YouTube channel brings, and it's not always a good thing, and I think that's sometimes that's hard to shake as well.
It is. I run into that sometimes with my match footage. I want to post a certain match because I don't think it's reflective of how good I know I can be.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just not your day. So I commend you for showing all the trials and tribulations along the way. I think that is extremely eye-opening for people who may have this false sense of, oh, you're shooting prone from a rest and it's so mechanical, and all you're doing is sitting there pulling the trigger, and it's so far from the truth. People, I tell them to get out here and try it themselves.
To give you an idea, at the end of yesterday, we had some pretty tough conditions at the end, and the difference between, like, I can't remember what I want to say, somewhere around 17th or 18th place, between the difference between there and fourth place is 3 points.
Right.
4 points. The difference between the next 20 is maybe another 3 points or 4 points.
And just for the viewers who don't know how the point system works, that 10 ring is 10 points. So losing 1 point is just being
outside the 10 ring.
Outside the 10 ring once. So it's not like, an impact is 1 point versus a non-impact. You're not missing the target completely. You're just
just outside,
a quarter inch outside that ring or something.
Yeah, and then heaven help you if you're outside into the 8 or the 7. Suddenly things start multiplying. So
things can compound pretty quickly.
Yeah, so I it's hard sometimes.
Yeah. So let's shift gears just a little bit. Well, wrap things up. You have also started in the NRL 22 world.
Yes.
And that's something that's near and dear to my heart, and obviously the viewers here.
Yeah.
A small but growing audience. Thanks to everybody.
Yeah.
So how do you go from 1,000-yard shooting, super highly accurized custom rifles, hand loading to 22 rimfire off of barricades,
out of box ammo,
I mean, must from a cost perspective from you guys, I mean, it's great. But at the same time, you're running and gunning, and it's a completely different skill set. Would you say?
Yeah, so I do the NRL 22, and I also do a monthly bench rest match. So I'm using 22 bench rest.
Bench rest, right?
And so I am using the gun in 2 capacities. Here's what I will tell you. I think that my gun handling skills have gone up 100% this year, if for no other reason than shooting 22, because I think, there's a big difference between just grabbing a 10-22 and going out and shooting a target, right? But if you buy a really nice 22, even like a well-built, like you did a really nice rimfire build off of Ruger and CZs, and I mean, whatever 22 you have, as long as it is a well-built, good barrel gun, I think you will learn so much about how you shoot both good and bad. Like, it really exacerbated some of my bad behaviors, because I would get down behind the 22 and everything with 22 is just amplified compared to here. Like, I can make a little mistake here and it might be an outside 9, right? But when I shoot bench rest 22, or if I'm shooting NRL and I've got bad body position, if I'm just off the gun wrong, I mean, I'm just not gonna hit the gong, I'm not gonna hit the KYL, I'm not gonna, and so it's really forced me to slow down my shooting. It's forced me to keep my eye on the scope longer. I don't think I really went into it with that expectation. For me, it was about relaxing, because I don't really care how I do. I do care now, but I really didn't care how I did in those matches. I'm just too competitive, but I told myself I wouldn't care. But I find the 22 matches so relaxing, but I do find that that since I've started, it has just really shown me my deficiencies, just how my body positions, settling down, keeping on the gun, until I pull around, like all these things that are important, but in the heat of matches, especially here, they can get away from you if you're not really cognizant of it. And I don't come from like a small bore discipline background. A lot of guys out here come from a more disciplined, in terms of how you shoot, background, across the course, sling shooting, things like that, where,
silhouette,
small bore, silhouette.
Power.
Yeah, so like all of these other disciplines that tie into F-class, I never shot any of them. Like, to be honest, I was a pretty crappy shooter. I could hit things and I could do okay, but I have horrible mechanics, and I still to this day have pretty horrible mechanics compared to a lot of guys, because I just never had a good foundation in my shooting. I mean, I've shot my whole life. I just never had really disciplined instruction. And so I've been, that's the other half that I've been fighting this whole time. So yeah, 22's done a huge world of help. I highly recommend anybody, even if you don't think you like shooting 22 and you shoot another discipline, I can't stress enough how much 22 will help with your shooting. Yeah.
It's a little easier on the wallet too in terms of ammunition costs.
I guess it depends what you buy, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess it depends what you buy.
But I guess in the long run, yeah, it's still cheaper no matter what.
And you don't have to reload. You don't have to spend hours in the room.
That's the best part, right? You just go, well, I feel like shooting, and you grab a couple boxes and you run out.
There you go.
Yeah, for sure.
We got 30-minute strings for 20 shots, and you go down to 2 minutes or 90 seconds, depending on if you're in the PRS or NRL 22 world.
Sure.
For maybe 10 shots. So how do you train your brain to do the time difference? Here you can wait for your condition. When the buzzer goes off in NRL 22, you got to go.
Yeah. I've struggled a little bit. I think I fall under the same trap that everybody I've talked to that's in PRS or NRL falls under, which is rushing, right? And I think what's really helped, I still am really bad at it, but what's really helped for me is I print out the course of fires. Right. And I don't really have like any of those training aids to do it around the house, but what I do is I'll start
something like the DFAT system.
Yeah, like the DFAT or something.
Right.
Yeah, I've thought about trying that, but for me, what I'll do is I'll look at the course of fire and I start a timer on my phone, And I just kind of mentally walk through, okay, if I really slow down, if I really take my time and I mentally walk through the course of fire, okay, I drop my bag here, I'm going to get settled, I'm going to load around, I'm going to get on target, bang, bang, okay, I need to move, and then I kind of judge myself against the time. Like I don't look at the time until I'm done running the thing in my brain. And then it kind of says, well, okay, even in my head, I rushed it, okay, or wow, okay, I still had 15 seconds left and I think I slowed down. So that's kind of been what I've done. And then practically speaking, I'll kind of just run little drills at my club. We've got a really nice rimfire silhouette range, so I can go out to 220 yards. We've got 25, 50, 100, 75 silhouettes everywhere. And so I'll just set up, mentally, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to go 25, 110, 215, I'll start a timer, hold over, bang, 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 bang. So I've been trying to train myself that 2 minutes is a lot of time, but I really struggle with it because I'll finish 30 seconds early and I'll still be down 5 shots,
Yeah. Time management's huge, and there are certain stages you definitely have to rush because there's a lot of movement.
Yeah.
But you still want to make good hits, and there's other times you get into that, you think all the stages are kind of like the same.
Yeah.
There's some stages with few movements or maybe prone, even though it's multiple targets, there is a lot of time on the clock.
Yeah,
so.
I'm shocked. So there's a guy I shoot with who's really good at it. And, he's a good friend of mine, so we've been able to kind of hang out together. And I'm amazed on some of these stages, we were talking about your ladder stage earlier, where, like this month, you never moved off it, right? You found a position and all your shots came off that. Well, when I shot, I was on and shooting in like 10 or 12 seconds probably. I watched him shoot, and he did what you did in your video, where threw his bag on the ground, just kind of pulls up his pants, kind of takes a breath.
Check the hat.
He gets down, pulls his focus back or pulls his power back a little bit, gets down on, like I was watching my timer. I don't think he took his first shot till honestly like 35, 40 seconds in. And then he was still done with 10 or 15 seconds.
Right.
But it was such an aha moment for me, because again, it's so easy to rush.
It is easy to rush.
Yeah.
Because it's fun and it's exciting.
And
it's fun making steel go, ring or move in the KYL rack and spin targets. But building that foundation, that position, that's how you get the accurate hits.
Yeah, and the time management comes in factor here, but just in a different way, right? Because there's a big push, mentally for everybody, okay, you got 30 minutes to fire with 1 round load. When your targets come up, you can commence fire. And as soon as those targets come up, you hear bah, 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 bah. And it's like, okay, you got 30 minutes. Like, why are you taking a shot as soon as they tell you? Like, sure, there are times where that's warranted, but I think the time management kind of helps you appreciate that you can slow down here too. So 30 minutes or 2 minutes, time management is critical.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, John, thanks for the time. I'm going to put links in the description to his channel. You probably already know who he is. Let's be real. I'll probably also link some other interviews that you did with Erik Cortina, just so people get a little bit more background on you. I know we kind of talked about the here and now, but excited about you getting into NRL 22 world, something near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
Are we going to see some videos on the channel about the NRL 22 stuff? Or?
Yeah, so I've just been so busy getting ready for nationals that when I do shoot NRL, it's in and out, and I'm done. I think we were talking about it, so I started with, I bought a rim, what did I buy? I bought a Voodoo, a B14, and a CZ all at the same time. I really like my CZ, so I got rid of the other 2. I've been really happy with that, but I just picked up a Rim-X that I shot one time before flying out here. So like every night I'm like, oh, I want to go shoot my Rim-X. Like I'm so jonesing to go shoot that thing. But definitely more videos on the NRL, and I'll put you on the spot and say I hope when I come down in February for Southwest, maybe I can come over. We can do a reloading room confession.
Oh well, my house is a mess, but yeah, that sounds good.
We'll come over. We'll do something.
Okay, all right. Well, until then, okay. If we do that, then I'm going to invite you out for if you like coming to Phoenix because the weather is great.
Yeah. I'm
going to invite you out to a NRL 22 X match.
Okay.
If you can spend a weekend out here.
All right. Maybe we can figure out a way to fit it in.
All right.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Hey, appreciate it. Thank you. F-Class John on YouTube. You already know who he is.
Nah.
Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you later.